This is North American Warhorse High School Hoops, presented by Bathfitter.
Welcome inside Holy Redeemer High School. We're in downtown Wilkes-Barre, Luzerne County. Tonight, it's a Wyoming Valley Conference Division 2 matchup as Nanticoke battles Holy Redeemer. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Ide, and welcome to week number 2 of High School Hoops here on MyTV WQMY. Joining me courtside tonight from Service Electric Cable, Paul Garrity. And Paul, both these teams come in having lost to probably the hottest team in the division, Lake Lehman. So as we take a look at the standings, it's a big game tonight between these two teams.
No question about it, Bob. With both teams losing to Lake Lehman in their first matchup, you can see it there. The tie at 5-1 for second. And both teams are going to have another chance at Lake Lehman coming up later this season. So a win tonight will give somebody sole control of second place and an opportunity maybe to tie for first if they could beat Lake Lehman later in the year.
Well, Paul, let's talk about the Trojanettes now. 4 returning starters, but they haven't started the season. Maybe they wanted to hope. They're playing better right now, but if they want to pull off the upset tonight, you would think they need a big game from our North American spotlight player, Kate Reed.
No doubt about it. Kate Reed is a tremendous shooter. When she gets hot, she can fill it up as quickly as any any player in the Wyoming Valley Conference. Excellent free throw shooter. I think Ed Grant was like to see her get to the basket a little bit more tonight, especially against the relentless defensive pressure she'll see from John Jaworski's Lady Royals. Kate Reed, a big-time problem for Holy Redeemer tonight.
The defending District 2 champs picked up really where they left off. Two losses from out of state that lost to Lake Lehman, but they're playing excellent basketball right now, and that includes our other North American Warhorse spotlight player, Mackenzie Chimmock.
Well, Mackenzie Chimmock's just a fearless player. She's the smallest player in Holy Redeemer's starting 5, but she doesn't play like it. She's a tremendous outside shooter if you leave her open, but she will take the ball to the rim against bigger players, and she just takes it right to the rim against anybody. So definitely a matchup that Nanticoke will have some trouble with tonight, and Mackenzie Chimmock, one of the top offensive players in the Wyoming Valley Conference.
Well, we talked to both coaches. They gave us some keys to the game, brought to you by the Good Feet Store. And Paul, let's go with Nanticoke first.
Well, I think both teams have very similar keys. Rebounding is a big concern for Ed Grant tonight. Holy Redeemer, one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the area. So with the Redeemer players having a size and athleticism advantage tonight, Caitlin Majeros and the rest of the Nanticoke players are going to have to work really hard on the boards. And Nanticoke really wants to control the tempo. They want to keep this game in the 30s or 40s if they can. They'll have a hard time winning this game if it gets up into the 60s.
And as you can see, Holy Redeemer, pretty much similar keys to the game, Paul?
No doubt. Holy Redeemer, quite the opposite. They want to control the tempo. They want to get this. They want to make this a helter-skelter game with their relentless full-court pressure. Year after year under John Jaworski, they're one of the best defensive teams in the Wyoming Valley Conference and in District 2, and they just create so much havoc with the full-court pressure that they put on you. It's going to be a big-time challenge for the Nanticoke guards tonight.
Yeah, Holy Redeemer has dominated this series. In fact, the last win for Nanticoke, 2022. Let's see what happens here tonight. It's Holy Redeemer and Nanticoke. The opening tip, the starting lineups are on the way. Here are tonight's starting lineups for the Trojanettes. 7-7 overall coming in. It will be Atkins, Reed, Donahue, Barron and Majeros, the senior forward. We'll talk about her a little bit later on. For John Jaworski's team from Holy Redeemer, 11-3 overall coming in. His starting lineup looks like this. Albrecht, Boylan, Pegorovsky, Chimok, and Krepetovic. Referees for tonight's game, John Basic, Patrick Roman, and Joe Flaherty from the Wyoming Valley Conference, and a special shout out to them. It is Officials Week in the PIAA. Paul, and always good to have the officials here, and they do a great job.
No doubt about it. A veteran crew here tonight, 3 of the best officials in the Wyoming Valley Conference. And 2 of these officials had the Holy Redeemer Lake Lehman game recently. Really disappointing loss for Holy Redeemer in that one. I know the Lady Royals want another crack at Lake Lehman, so we'll see if that comes into play tonight as well.
We're all set to go. Boylan will jump for Holy Redeemer, and for Nanticoke, they'll jump Barron, and we're underway here in Wilkes-Barre in this Wyoming Valley Conference Division II clash. Right inside and a turnover right off the bat. What kind of pace will we see early on from both teams?
Well, Holy Redeemer wants it to be a frenetic, just a crazy pace, and Nanticoke would like to see it be much more of a half-court game and get the ball down low as much as possible to Caitlin Majeros.
Reed, she'll shoot from the outside. Instead, it's going to be Donahue off the mark. Some garbage picked up by Atkins, and Nanticoke has the early lead.
Nice. Nobody boxed out. 5'6" junior that time. Natalie Atkins snuck in, and Nanticoke draws first blood.
So this is Holy Redeemer coming in off a win over Wyoming area the other night, 57-26. Trying to force it inside to Krepetovic. Good rebound, and put back up in Pegorovsky, and she'll go to the line to shoot 2.
Well, interesting from Ed Grant. Looks like he's come out in a 1-2-2 with Majeros, his center, up at the top of the zone. So it looked like that time it kind of freed up Holy Redeemer for the pick and roll and no real rim protection down low. And it allowed the opportunity here for the second chance points.
So Pekorovsky, number 20, senior, her first free throws of the year, Paul, which is kind of unusual, but she's 0 for 0. She had 8 points against Holy Cross, kind of the 4th or 5th scorer on this team, and she cuts the lead in half.
Yeah, Kayla's just someone that brings some real senior leadership to the team, does a lot of the little things, gets some rebounds, plays some quality defense as well.
Good job by the Trojanettes to break the press. Donahue thought about it. She missed her first one, and back out Kate Reed will run the show. They'll try to get Reed open in the corners, right, Paul? She's a deadly three-point shooter.
And Nanticoke will have as many as 4 players on the floor that can really shoot the three-point shot, and they're going to have to knock quite a few of them down tonight if they want to keep this close in the second half.
So Majeros off the top of the key. The 6'1 senior passes it off. Good man-to-man defense from Holy Redeemer.
Just constant pressure from John Jaworski's team. A lot of depth coming off their bench, and they just try to wear you down with their pressure.
And we'll have a foul. It looks like it will go against Atkins on the push for Nanticoke. Her first, team's second.
And it'll be interesting, too, Bob, to see how this game is officiated. I think if you're Holy Redeemer, with your over-aggressiveness on defense, you want these officials to really let you play. And if you're Nanticoke, you're hoping for a more tightly whistled game.
Boylan gives it up, brought it down the floor. He'll pass it inside to Krepetovic. Chimik back out. Boylan baseline, finds Krepetovic right there in the middle, and she puts it up and in.
Yeah, and you can see the versatility there of Holy Redeemer. We talked about Nanticoke. They have so many players that can really shoot the basketball. Holy Redeemer might have the most versatility of any team in the Wyoming Valley Conference. They have 3 or 4 players that can play 4 positions on the floor, and they can all handle the ball.
Taken away by the Lady Royals. They like to run the floor, fast-paced, but Nanticoke does a nice job getting back. Krepetovic feeling it from outside.
Yeah, just such balanced scoring from this Holy Redeemer team. They share the basketball so well. They don't care who takes the shot. They just want the best possible shot for their team. And that time, Krepetovic back-to-back possessions there, got open looks from her favorite spot on the floor.
There's Ed Grant, Nanticoke coach, 7th season, former assistant, or one of the best ever in the Trojanettes era. Talk about that a little bit later on. So looked like there was a foul. We didn't see who it was against, Paul, but they didn't post it on the board yet. was against Holy Redeemer, though. Their first foul. We'll pick up that later on. Here comes Chimak back.
I think Nanticoke's doing a good job defensively so far, getting back.
Pigorovsky, no shot. And we talked about Holy Redeemer. They don't have a player in double figures this year who's scoring points. So anybody could be on fire. And speaking of on fire, Kate Reed from the outside can't get that one to go. But Lady Royals, nobody in double figures, Paul.
No, and like I said, they share the basketball so well. 5 players on the floor pretty much at all times that can score. And when you're unselfish and you have a lot of people on the floor, it's going to lead to balanced scoring. And not just this season. I mean, really throughout John Jaworski's tenure at Holy Redeemer, that's pretty much been the way it's been. He likes to play a lot of girls, likes to get – I expect to see as many as maybe 10 girls play meaningful minutes tonight in this game.
So far, they're doing a nice job on the offensive boards, but Nanticoke's right there. Reed got a jam in her finger. That could not be any worse for Nanticoke. She jammed her finger in the corner, and maybe we hope she didn't break it. But
yeah, hopefully that's all it is.
Because she is their leading scorer. We talked about her in pregame, Kate Reed. Big loss, a 5'6" junior will go out, and the trainer will look at her.
Yeah, if Reed is out for an extended period of time in this game, not only do you lose her shooting ability, but you lose her ball handling, which is so important against this Redeemer press.
Boylan for her first 2. Telejeski, the 5'9" freshman, number 2, has come in now.
Now, without Reed's senior leadership on the floor, they're really going to look to Barron to create.
Haley Verazan, number 42, came into the game for Nanticoke. Jarros got a hand on that, and she picks up the ball, and here comes the Trojanettes back the other way.
Yeah, I think Nanticoke wants to get Majeros a touch here on this possession, preferably within 8 feet of the rim if possible.
Now, who's going to pick up the scoring with Reed on the bench? Majeros is the second leading scorer. She's blocked off inside. Will foul? So with 3:35 remaining, the home team up by 5. We take our first time out here at Holy Redeemer.
Back here at Holy Redeemer High School, 7-2 Royals lead the Trojanettes. As we take a look at tonight's Jeff Ryan State Farm marquee matchup, Caitlin Majeros, one of the best post players in the Wyoming Valley Conference. Saw her draw that foul just a moment ago. She'll be headed to the free throw line here. And Brooke Kruptavich, not only a great basketball player for Holy Redeemer, she's been a real impact player for John Jaworski for 3 or 4 years now for this program. Also an excellent volleyball player for one of the best volleyball programs in District 2.
Absolutely. Volleyball very big here at Holy Redeemer. So when we step back, Caitlin Majeros will go to the line, the 6'1" senior. 58% on the year. Looks like Kate Reed is at the bench. She has that finger taped up, Paul. It's on her left hand as the senior makes the first free throw, brought to you by NEPA Builders.
And Majeros does a great, she's one of the leading players in the conference in terms of free throw attempts. Real physical player down low. Nanticoke usually does a pretty good job feeding her the ball. And she's not afraid to create some contact and go to the line.
So we'll keep an eye on Kate Reed. Looks like the middle 2 fingers taped up. See how that affects her shooting. It's on her left hand, though.
I think Nanticoke's doing a pretty good job. I started to say it earlier, Bob, getting back defensively. They've been able to limit Holy Redeemer's transition opportunities, even off some of those live ball turnovers. They've also been competitive on the glass, which I think is the best they could ask for, as Holy Redeemer's such a good rebounding team.
Yeah, Chimok with her first two. 6-point lead for Lady Royals.
Just have to take care of the basketball a little bit. And here's Barron. Wow.
Nice job by Navarra Barron, this 5'7" junior. Hooping the harm. She'll go to the line to shoot the free throw and complete the three-point play.
Yeah, Nevaeh's really kind of that third piece to the puzzle, Bob. The inside-outside combination of Reed and Majeros. But Nevaeh is that slasher. She likes to get into the lane. She can finish at the rim, and she can create a lot of opportunities for her teammates. A really nice compliment to the combo of Reed and Majeros for Nanticoke.
Lead down to 4 now. Nice offensive board. Outside shot. Count it. Downtown, Bella Boylan, her 7-3 on the year.
I think Jeff Ryan might have picked the right player for the marquee matchup tonight. Kruptavich off to a great start in this first half.
Big steal. Here come the Lady Royals back the other way. Chimok going to be fouled, and she'll go to the line. There you see the fast pace that Holy Redeemer wants to play with.
Yeah, and you have to avoid those live ball turnovers because the Royals get out and they get end-to-end so fast. And again, like I mentioned in the pregame, Chimok just not afraid to take the ball right at some bigger players as she did just there.
She makes the first NEPA Builders free throw. Chimok 78% from the line this year. High this year was against Whitehall. Scored 21, did the Taylor native, and can't make the second. So biggest lead of the night now for the Lady Royals here at home. That's Reed's second foul, by the way. Third foul on the Trojanettes. Tough defense like Chimok. Just took it right out of the hands.
Yeah, I mean, Holy Redeemer, there's probably quite a few teams in the area that are as good or better offensively, but they really get it done with their defense. They turn defense into offense, and so far they've been able to create quite a few turnovers defensively, and that's what's led to this 8-point lead.
Kaylin Majeros on the bench. Nanticoke goes into the 2-3 zone. Good rebound by Verazan. Here comes Atkins. Wants to push the pace herself. Kate Reed still looking to score her first points. Donahue, count it, from downtown, her 16th three on the year.
Yeah, and I think Nanticoke's going to have to get some contributions from some of those role players to knock down some shots. We already saw Atkins get an offensive rebound and put it back in. And if Donahue can knock down a couple more three-point shots in this game, that would be huge for Nanticoke.
Ed Grant rolling the dice, though, Paul. Has his top two scorers on the bench right now with Reed and Majeros.
Well, just trying to buy some minutes with Kate Reed on the bench. And, yeah, Nanticoke usually doesn't go quite as deep into their bench as John Jaworski will. So if they could just buy maybe another minute and a half here at the end of the quarter and keep this game within 5, I think Ed Grant would be very happy with that.
Jordan Johnson, number 55, a junior, into the game. Of course, Reed has those 2 fouls, and picking up the pace is Atkins from downtown. Cut into their lead. It's down to 2.
Couple three-point shots already in this quarter. I thought Nanticoke probably needed to make 7 or 8 tonight.
Well, coming right back, another big 3 by Sadelka. The steal, the foul, the basket, and a 3-point opportunity quickly by Kruptovich.
Yeah, and that's the risk you run. If you're Ed Grant, at this level, when you take out your 2 best players, even if it's only for a minute or 2, you're really kind of nervous that things could escalate quickly, and we saw the 3-point shot go down. Now Redeemer with a chance for 6 points in a span of about 5 seconds.
Yeah, after a little run by Nanticoke, got him within 2. Ed Grant wants to call timeout deep into this first quarter. 50 seconds left. And there you saw what Holy Redeemer can do very quickly.
Yeah, and that little stretch there from Nanticoke is what you have to avoid, and that's what Holy Redeemer thrives on, right? Open 3, turnover in the backcourt, and then you go to the rim and you get the three-point play, and that's just what they do. And it's easy for us to sit here and say, well, you have to avoid those type of things if you're Nanticoke. But when you have this type of athleticism that Holy Redeemer does, and the size they throw at you, I mean, 4 of the 5 players on the court are 5'8" or taller with long arms and great quickness and athleticism. So it's a lot easier for us to say that than it is for the kids on the court to do.
Well, it has not been a good start for Nanticoke's leading scorer, Kate Reed. Hurt her fingers, now 2 fouls, and she's on the bench during this run. Majerles comes back in. They go back into the zone. Holy Redeemer can break this zone, though. They have 66 threes coming in and make that another one. And it's another three-pointer from the outside. And that looked like that was Gillian Parsons, the sophomore.
Yeah, Parsons, a real athletic player off the bench for John Jaworski. Not known as a big three-point shooter, but got a clean look there.
Here comes Lady Rose back the other way before you blink, and Krumtovich lays it up and in, and this is getting a little out of hand here.
Yep, they can
13-point lead.
They can score in bunches, Bob, no doubt about it.
So 11-0 run for Nanticoke is broken by Atkins. And just in time, but Holy Redeemer at home. Coming out on fire. They lead Nanticoke 24-13 after 1.
You're watching North American Warhorse High School Hoops, presented by Bathfitter on MyTV WQMY.
Here are Figure Law Firm Scholar Athletes this week for Nanticoke. Richard Brogan plays basketball as a 93 average, a 4-year varsity player. Helped coach and teach at the youth level. He's a chill guy, as RJ says. And for Holy Redeemer, Abigail Williams. Abby Williams, 4.28 GPA, headed to undecided right now. High honor student, also a volunteer and the tutor program. So Nanticoke comes out.
Molly Donahue's second three-point shot of the half, Bob. Badly needed bucket there for the Trojanettes.
Kate Reed remains on the bench with those 2 fouls, nursing that injury now. She keeps messing with her left hand. So it's going to be some of the role players now have to step up. Donahue's one of them right so far, but 8-point lead now.
Yeah, Kate Reed, I mean, someone that doesn't spend a lot of time on the Nanticoke bench. She plays big minutes for this team, and as I said, not only their leading scorer, but a primary ball handler. And with her on the bench, we've seen that Nanticoke has had some difficulty, as expected, with this Holy Redeemer pressure.
So the big run by the Lady Royals was thwarted with a big basket as the quarter ended, but it was all Holy Redeemer. Couple steals in that one, and some big three-pointers have led the way for the home team to take this 8-point lead.
Yeah, I mean, Nanticoke's been good offensively. They're just having trouble stopping the Royals and a little too many turnovers right now.
Comes Atkins back. Outside Donahue again, no good. No rebound for Johnson. Here come the Lady Royals back the other way. Trojanettes do a nice job to get back.
And you saw Tessa Segelka really wrestle that rebound away. And that's one thing the Royals do well is also they rebound, their guards rebound well. They don't have that one real big physical post player that's going to kind of dominate the boards, but they do rebound well as a team, and all 5 players usually do a good job crashing the glass.
3 in, 3 out for Holy Redeemer. As you mentioned, they'll go about 10 deep. Barron. Outside Atkins. Big one. Natalie Atkins from downtown.
Wow, and you look up, I mean, this game, you said it, Bob, earlier, this game looked like it was totally getting away from the Trojanettes, and now a couple three-point shots. Atkins having herself quite a first half along with Donahue. It's back down to a 5-point margin.
Yeah, Atkins leading the way. She has 10 points, and the ball gets stuck, and it'll be alternate possession and go over to Nanticoke.
Go out and get it, Bob. Get out there.
I can't jump that high anymore.
Pat Roman can.
So a 6-0 run for Nanticoke to begin this second quarter. So that gives Ed Grant an opportunity to bring back Kate Reed back into the game with those 2 fouls.
With Reed on the bench, they stayed even on the scoreboard. And I guarantee you Ed Grant would have signed up for that in a hurry if you told him that.
There's the double team as expected. Right over half court, and it'll go back over to Holy Redeemer. Nanticoke can't afford any more turnovers, especially against this pressure.
Yeah, definitely having trouble with the pressure. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, Holy Redeemer, again, with their length and athleticism, they create so many problems.
Back around. Parsons already has a 3. You have to guard her out there. Nanticoke into the man-to-man again. Oh, nice move by Parsons down the lane, the sophomore, taking the senior.
Yeah, quickness advantage there against Majeros. And I thought Caitlin did a pretty good job there. She forced a tough shot, but Parsons able to score despite that.
Good drive of Barron, taking it back away. Ed Grant says, settle down. Still in this game. Nanticoke comes in, averaging 48 points per game. And Majero's going to get a foul from behind. And that'll be her first.
Yeah, pretty easy call there. Good job boxing out. I think that was Parsons down there mixing it up with Majeros, and Caitlin came over the top there. Good call by the official. 3
more in and 3 more out for John Jaworski's team. They come in averaging 57 points per game. Of course, the 30-point loss, kind of an aberration in this season. After such a good beginning for Holy Redeemer, but as Coach said, I think they were 4 for 50 or something from shooting that night. It was not a good shooting night if you're Holy Redeemer.
Yeah, you're talking about the game against Lake Lehman.
Lehman.
I have a feeling that when those 2 teams play here, it will not be a 30-point game in either direction.
Nice job by Gratovich again from the outside.
Well, Brooks having a really big game. And again, if you're Holy Redeemer, you never know who that player is going to be on any given night offensively. Tonight, it looks like it's going to be Brooke Kroptavich. She hasn't even taken that many shots, but she's already in double figures for the game.
11 points for Brooke, the senior. Kate Reed back in. Just going to replace the senior Majeros. Foul against Boylan. Her first.
And just nothing comes easy. Just even a simple inbounds pass like that you kind of take for granted against this Holy Redeemer team, you still have to concentrate on everything.
Shamak into the trees. As you mentioned, she's the smallest player on Holy Redeemer. Blocked away.
Yeah, Barron got that from behind.
Back up to a 10-point lead. Off the mark from Boylan. Johnson with the board. Kate Reed back up, still scoreless. Looks like Holy Redeemer's in a zone 2, Paul.
Yeah, they've been mixing it up a little bit in this first half. They were man earlier.
Reed looking for a shot. Good drive, knocked away. Boylan pushing the pace. Gonna go to the line to shoot 2.
Atkins is going to pick this one up. Probably a good foul there. Boylan had the angle on her. Probably would have been a layup if not for the foul. And haven't even talked much about Bella Boylan tonight, reigning Wyoming Valley Conference Division II Player of the Year. Also, all-state volleyball player, just quite simply one of the best athletes in District 2, and gets an easy one there on the baseline inbounds. Breakdown defensively that time. Ed Grant not happy over the Trojanet bench.
Boylan scored 23 for her high this year against Abington Heights. Donahue's hit a couple of those tonight. Can't connect right there. Nanticoke has to keep it close, though, as we head towards the end of the first half, because this one could get out of hand pretty quickly.
It's been one and done offensively, too, for Nanticoke. Not a lot of second chance opportunities in this game so far.
Schmidt going to be called for a travel. That should be a break. Timeout on the court. 3:27 remaining in the half. Back to a 31-19 lead for the Lady Royals. Well, we talked about it in the pregame a little bit. Nanticoke kind of slow to get things going this year, especially in their exhibition schedule. They're just 7-7 overall with 4 returners back on this team. Of course, they lost to Lehman, but what have you seen from the Trojanettes throughout the season?
Well, the first thing I see is that Ed Grant is not afraid to play a difficult schedule out of division against much bigger schools. Wyoming Valley West, Wilkes-Barre, Crestwood, Dallas. You're talking about basically the cream of the crop in the Wyoming Valley Conference Division 1. So they weren't able to win any of those games that I just mentioned, but still some valuable experience for the Trojanettes, and it serves them well. As we've seen, they won 5 of their 6 games inside their division.
So it's been a game of runs. To begin this quarter, it was a 6-0 run by Nanticoke. They got it to within 5, but then 7-0 run now for Holy Redeemer, and that's where we're at right now. 12-point lead. Back into Majeros. She has only scored from the free throw line tonight. So Holy Redeemer doing a nice job on defense. On the top scorers. Tied up, Majeros. Well, they're going to call a jump ball. Will stay with the Trojanettes.
Yeah, Parsons really working hard down there against Majeros. 2 very physical players in this game so far, and that time Caitlin able to sneak in and get the held ball to maintain the possession.
Majeros inside makes the move. She'll go to the line to get 2.
Yeah, had to make that move against 3 Holy Redeemer players in a straitjacket that time down low. Caitlin tried to muscle it up, and again, one of the better players in the Wyoming Valley Conference in getting to the free throw line.
Parsons pick up the foul, her second. Team second as Caitlin makes the first one. She had 24 this year against Wyoming Valley West, 16 against Pittston area. They need that output tonight if they want to get back into this game.
No question about it. They've gotten the contribution so far you can't ask any more from Atkins and Donahue. They've been great. But Holy Redeemer's done a nice job neutralizing the girls that Nanticoke really wants to have big nights, their primary offensive players.
That they have. Kate Reed still scoreless. Inside of Kratovich, can't get it to go. Holy Redeemer now not going to press until they're over half court. Looks like they're in a 2-3 zone. Atkins double dribble. She's getting a little frustrated, I think, is Kate Reed.
Yeah, I think so. She's not used to going this long without scoring a point. But again, if you're Nanticoke and your best offensive players haven't really gotten going yet, and you still find yourself only down 10, it could be a heck of a lot worse.
Absolutely.
They're maintaining contact in this game, and I think they've done a little better job taking care of the ball in the last 4 or 5 minutes, just not knocking down as many shots.
Well, you got to get out on all the shooters here. Kotovic, you said, having herself a night. Her second 3 in a row. She now has 14. She leads the Lady Royals.
Yeah, and Holy Redeemer has not shot three-point shots like this season. They've been kind of up and down with their outside shooting. Wow.
Atkins matches that from downtown. And a timeout. Ed Grant again. That's her second 3 of the night. She has 13 points, does Atkins.
Yeah, I mean, she's really keeping the minute with her outside shooting. She's looked confident. She's handled the ball well against the pressure for the most part, and she's just spotting up in that corner. And give credit to Nanticoke. They see the hot hand, and they're not afraid to go to her.
And there you mentioned the out-of-conference plays. I mean, John Jaworski does it just as good as anybody. Yeah, he lost a couple big ones, but he wants to get prepped for states here and he's going to see in districts.
Yeah, and first of all, I know they want another shot at Lake Lehman. Mm-hmm. We mentioned that. But, yeah, I think if you're a Holy Redeemer, the way John Jaworski's had this program over the past nearly decade, they expect to make a run in the postseason. So that's how he schedules in the early season. And it's worked well for him through the years. 4 division titles in his 8 years.
Yeah. They won last year's title, first one since 2017, and they expect the same thing out of this year's team. But we'll take a look at the district standings coming up in the Jeff Ryan State Farm Insurance halftime report, and we'll see Dunmore's right there again up in the Lackawanna League. Parsons, little turnaround, no good.
Good job by Jordan Johnson there to bother that shot a little bit without fouling down low.
Kate Reed now back to the bench. Inside to Majeros. They need something from her. Nice move, but couldn't get the easy bucket.
Yep, that's a good look. John Jaworski hasn't been doubling her a lot in this first half. Now, at that time, he let Parsons go one-on-one with her, and Parsons forced a fairly difficult shot.
Foul underneath on Holy Redeemer. And that's one thing Holy Redeemer can afford to do is rack up some fouls. And there you saw it. Looks like Chimok.
Yeah, Barron. Good athlete, able to climb the ladder for that rebound. And will be interesting to see here if Nanticoke decides to play for one. That's not easy either when you're constantly pressured every time you dribble the ball.
Reed, first shot of the night. Got it.
Yeah.
Let's see if that heats her up.
Yeah, even if you were planning on playing for one there, when you get a clean look from your best outside shooter, that's a shot you have to take, and that's a smart play and well executed that time. We'll see if that gets her going.
Well, they tried the match from the outside. Sagelka gets hit, and she'll go to the line to shoot 3, and she's interesting. Her first game back since ACL surgery was Lake Lehman game.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, early in her career, she had the makings of a really good player, and there's no doubt she was going to be a real impact player for this Royal program, and she's had some tremendously bad luck with the injury situation, and hopefully for Tessa and the Royals, she can come back to have a positive second half and maybe make a difference in the postseason.
Her first free throws of the season. As you can see, the brace on the left knee. And it's not an easy thing to come back for, ACL surgery. And a little bit tired on that one, Majeros. Still 10 seconds and counting, but Lady Royals are going to try to press it. Reed way downtown, almost got that one to go. Last second shot, Majeros no good. And that's where we'll go into halftime here. The home team, Holy Redeemer, leading Nanticoke 36-27.
You're watching North American Warhorse High School Hoops, presented by Bathfitter on MyTV WQMY.
are back in Wilkes-Barre. This Wyoming Valley Conference Division II matchup between Holy Redeemer and Nanticoke. Right now, the Lady Royals lead the Trojanettes 36-27. We bring them back to the table. Bob Ide and Mr. Paul Garrity. And, Paul, we're going to test your knowledge here. I know you know a lot about this conference, especially this year on the girls' side. So we're going to take a look at some of the district standings throughout the year. We're going to start with 3A, and that's where we find Holy Redeemer battling Dunmore for that top spot.
Well, I think it's going to be really advantageous for whoever can get the number 1 seed in Class 3A this year, because I think after you get past those 3 teams, Dunmore, Lake Lehman, and Holy Redeemer, I think those are clearly the top 3 teams. So if you could avoid having to play one of those teams in the semifinals and get that number 1 seed, I think all 3 of those teams will really be pushing hard to do that if they can.
Yeah, because when you get into the playoffs, you don't want to – the 2-3 game in the semifinal could be the game that determines who goes to play at the arena, where if you're the top seed, you're going to probably get one of the other lower seeds.
Correct. So I think you would like to avoid playing one of those top 3 teams if possible in the semifinal.
Okay, we're going to move on as we're heading towards that time of year, midway through this regular season. 4A's right there. There you see Nanticoke hanging in there, but really cream of the crop, Scranton Prep looking to get back to the state title.
Yeah, and I think if you're Nanticoke, really, you'd like to avoid playing Scranton Prep or Valley View in the first round, because I think those 2 teams seem like they're kind of head and shoulders above the rest of the conference, or above the rest of the classification in 4A. Scranton Prep, I'll tell you what, the one thing I'm disappointed in, I wish they played Hazleton this year, because I think that would be one heck of a game. I think a lot of people think that Prep is clearly the best girls team in the area this year. I think Joe Gavio down in Hazleton might have something to say about that. It's a shame, we'll never know, but Bob Bavilius certainly has a great team with the Classics state championship game run, of course, a year ago. Everybody back this year. They're going to be an awfully tough out.
Well, we'll get to 6A and we'll take a look at Hazleton 14-0, but right now we take it 5A, and down here, Crestwood and Pittston area, really, they rose above from the rest, and Crestwood has having a great season.
Yeah, Crestwood, despite the fact that they're playing without Kira Gallagher, who is unfortunately injured in the summer and won't be able to play this year, maybe their best player. And Crestwood, you look at it, they're still 11-2. Their only conference loss came to Hazleton. They had a convincing win over Pittston area, who's right now, as you see, ranked number 2 in the standings. Don't count out Abington Heights. A down year so far this year for Deanna Klingman and the Lady Comets, 7-6. But come playoff time, you know they're going to be prepared, and you know they're going to be playing their best basketball at the end of the year.
Yeah, some of the top players down here in the Wyoming Valley Conference, especially at the top at Crestwood and Pittston area. 6A, we talked about Hazleton, and you mentioned Coach Gavio, 14-0 right now, above the rest, right there with Scranton Prep at the top.
Yeah,
is the best.
I think Hazleton and Crestwood seem like the 2 best teams in the Wyoming Valley Conference right now. And when Hazleton played Crestwood, they really kind of put a thumping on them. It wasn't a close game. So Scranton's an interesting team. Chrissy Jaklinski is one of my favorite players in the area, just such a dynamic player. And she's dangerous. You don't want to really match up against her if you can avoid it. To me, it looks like Hazleton and Scranton a likely matchup at the arena, and that should be a really good one if it happens.
Yeah, if that does happen. Of course, all the games, again, back at the arena. The arena schedule's kind of a little bit different this year, too, right? Isn't there? There's a break in between. We'll talk about that later on, too. Paul's looking at me like, what are you talking about? We'll come back. We'll break down this game. We'll give some keys to the game as we head towards the second half. Both teams on the floor getting ready for the second half here on MyTV WQMY. 9-point lead for Holy Redeemer. And your impressions of the first half, Paul? A game of runs, I mentioned that a little bit, but, Nanticoke's hanging in there without their leading scorer playing that well. But Holy Redeemer get a lot of turnovers off their press.
Well, I think it's just what we talked about in the pregame and the keys to the game. When Nanticoke was able to keep this, was able to avoid turning the ball over, especially in the backcourt, they played extremely well. I mean, they made shots. They did some good things. Nevaeh Barron created some things in the lane. Atkins had a tremendous first half with the 13 points for Nanticoke. And Holy Redeemer was able to get out and get those 2 runs, really fueled by their defensive pressure and the turnovers, creating easy baskets. And that's really the difference in the game right now.
The leading scorer for Holy Redeemer is Brooke Kotovich. We talked about her in our marquee matchup. She has 15 points so far and pretty balanced scoring for the Lady Royals.
Yeah, I mean, Brooke Kotovich has had a tremendous first half. She's been efficient. She's made the open shots within the flow of the offense, and she's created some deflections as well. She's been the best player on the floor in this first half, no question about it, for Holy Redeemer.
Absolutely. And on the other side, they're keeping pace. We said that is Natalie Atkins, 13 points, 3 3-pointers. She does have 3 fouls, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But with Kate Reed, their leading scorer, coming in, kind of nursing this left-hand injury that she keeps kind of fiddling with, too, as I see her warming up. They're lucky to be right where they are. What do they need to do in the second half?
Yeah, well, that injury came about midway through the first quarter, and she's obviously not been 100% since, but Natalie Atkins kept them in the game. A couple of those 3-point shots she made were not wide open. There was a bigger player coming out to challenge the shot, and Atkins was able to knock them in anyway. So Nanticoke's going to have to make some shots like they did in the first half. And again, easier said than done, but they just have to avoid those live ball turnovers in the backcourt that led to, we saw Holy Redeemer scored 6 points in the span of about 4 or 5 seconds. You eliminate that little spurt there, and this is a 3-point game.
Absolutely correct. So we're both teams back on the floor. We are getting set to go here on MyTV WQMY.
And one thing I think Nanticoke did pretty well, again, I mentioned it once in the first half, but I thought they were very competitive on the glass. Holy Redeemer has a tendency with their athleticism and quickness and size to kind of overwhelm some teams on the glass, and I did not think that happened in the first half.
Hey, and something else to watch for, number 11, Nanticoke, Caitlin Majeros, 6'1" senior, has 3 points, all from the free throw line. She does not have a field goal. So Lady Royals did a nice job on the second leading scorer for the Trojanettes. You would think her and Reed need to come out big into the second half if they want to get their first win in 2 seasons. Scrappy on the floor, jump ball, and we'll go over to the Trojanettes.
Well, that time looked like a set play for Boylan. They wanted to get her going. She hasn't taken a lot of shots in this game either, really. And I think John Jaworski just wanted to get her involved. Got a pretty good look at the rim, but couldn't convert.
And there's that trap right over midcourt. Almost a turnover. They don't guard the ball out of bounds, and it will go into the backcourt to Nevaeh Barron. Barron back off to Natalie Atkins, and there's the steal. Good defense, and a quick one for Boylan again. That made it look easy. Another turnover for the Trojanettes.
Yeah, not often you see that type of size and athleticism at the top of the zone like that. And a nice job anticipating the pass there from Boylan, I should say, to get the easy deuce.
Reed got it. Now it's 2 in a row for Reed. Let's see if she gets back into the groove.
Yeah, give her credit out there with a bad finger. It's not easy. People say, well, it's only a finger, but that's really important when you're a 3-point shooter like that.
There's her guide hand, too, off the left hand.
Yeah.
That's the guide hand. Looks like the middle 2 fingers are taped together. So a little bit more pressure now from Holy Redeemer. 8-point game. Just seems like Holy Redeemer could be out even bigger, but Nanticoke's hanging around, as you mentioned. Looks like a zone. Majeros inside. Going to step on the baseline. Another turnover.
Good idea, though. Try to get her a touch early, get her involved in the offense coming out here in the second half. You already got one of your 2 leading scorers, Reed, a clean look for that 3. You're going to need those 2 to have a big second half.
Chimak, nice move. Easy bucket. for Mackenzie Chimuk.
Well, John Jaworski opening up the dribble drive offense now in this third quarter, trying to create some mismatches, and that time that quick first step from Chimuk to get the layup.
As soon as Majerus bring that ball down, there's a swarm of white jerseys. Chimuk back. Stop, pop, no good. But Kurtovich there, no foul call.
5-on-3 here if they want it.
Atkins thought about it. Swarming defense. Holy Redeemer all over the place. In the Majerus. And she'll be called for the foul. And she'll go to the line to shoot two. Will Caitlin Majerus, the 6'1 senior.
Yeah, nifty little pass there by Reed. And you saw the end there with Majerus muscling up. Get these two free throws to cut it back to a single-digit margin.
Yep, Kurtovich, her second foul, first one of the half. And Majerus, not a very good free throw shooter, just 58% on the year. Misses that one.
Jordan Johnson back in. She gave them some good minutes in the first half off the bench.
So all free throws tonight for Majerus. Got to come up with some defensive stands, does Nanticoke. Back up to Reed. Just saves it out of bounds.
Now, if you're Nanticoke, settle down here. You broke the press. Let's get a good shot.
That was not a good foul, but a quick timeout called. Third one of the game for Ed Grant. 5:18 remaining, and he just wanted to keep possession there.
Yeah, fortunate they got the timeout there. That easily could have called that a jump ball, and obviously if it's simultaneous possession, you can't call timeout.
I didn't know we were doing wardrobe changes tonight.
Oh,
wasn't Jaworski wearing a tie?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe someone called and said he didn't look good on TV with it. He went right to the Holy Redeemer sweatshirt.
How about that?
Maybe a little hot in here or something under the lights.
At least it's clean.
It is. That's
right.
right.
It is.
So Nanticoke ball underneath their own basket, down 9. They had an early 2-0 lead. And then Holy Redeemer started to pull away. They got it to within 5 at one point. Forced to Johnson.
Yeah, Holy Redeemer just speeds you up, makes you do things that you're not used to doing.
Yep, and with the depth they have, it's relentless because you're not tired. You never get tired in the fourth quarter. That's where they really wear you down.
Right, and I think John Jaworski does a great job year after year incorporating a lot of different players. It's good not just for this year, but for future years. You keep kids engaged. You get a lot of kids an opportunity.
Johnson with the foul. Nice job by Albrecht in the lane, taking it to the other side.
Yeah, I haven't mentioned Megan Albrecht a lot in this game. As you see her take it to the basket there, and a good call. Johnson wasn't going to let her have that layup. Albrecht, maybe the most physical player for Holy Redeemer, does a great job on the boards. Also an excellent volleyball player. She's top 5 in the class as well academically in her senior season. So a real all-around talent, not only on the athletic floor and fields, but in the classroom as well.
2 good feet store free throws for her. We go back the other way. Nice student representation for both teams. Majerus inside. There's her first field goal.
Yeah, nice pass that time inside, and Caitlin did a good job. Majerus sealing off the defender. Nobody back for the weak side help. Easy deuce.
Boylan just took it right to the lane. And that's almost too easy for Parsons.
Now a steal by Boylan.
And that's what they're doing. They're going to get a charge. They're going to
Wow.
go back the other way.
Credit Natalie Atkins there. That is not easy to do, to have a much bigger player there like Bella Boylan kind of soaring through the air and just stand in and take that contact. Atkins at just 5'4", sacrificing the body for the team there. Still an 11-point game.
Second foul on Boylan. Atkins, the leading scorer, hasn't scored this half. Good job going right down the lane for Barron, the junior. Saw the opening and took it.
Yeah, that's her game. She likes to get downhill, gets into the lane, can handle the ball well, even amongst a lot of different players. And she does a good job getting to the free throw line, too. Second on the team in both makes and attempts. Usually a very good free throw shooter when she gets there.
Well, she had a big game than Barron this year against Sem. 28 points was their high. So some of these other Nanticoke players can score if needed. Back, still a 10-point lead. Seems like it's been hovering there for most of this quarter. Inside. It almost looked like Albrecht was a little surprised no one was there.
She was almost too open.
Yeah.
The bank was open.
So Albrecht with a couple free throws and a basket this quarter, and we'll take a timeout on the floor. 3:36 remaining, still a 12-point lead for the home team of Holy Redeemer. Welcome back to Wilkes-Barre, everyone. A 12-point lead for Holy Redeemer. As Coach John Jaworski looks on, now in a hoodie. Looking pretty chic there, Coach, his 9th year. Holy Redeemer will take on Tuckanuck Friday night.
Wonder what the next uniform change is for Coach.
Is it going in after the
another
third?
One for us?
No, I don't know. Maybe
something for the fourth quarter he's got planned.
So back on the floor. Man-to-man from the Trojanettes. They can't cover some of the players. And Segelka, welcome back. She's playing really well. That'll be a big lift for this Holy Redeemer team if she can get back into form.
Well, that'll be a big lift for Nanticoke if Kate Reed can knock down a couple more of them.
Well, she's not 9 right now after being scoreless in the first quarter.
Nanticoke at some point, not yet, still too early to have to do it, but they're going to have to come out and pressure Holy Redeemer, and if and when they do, that's when Holy Redeemer really can beat you.
Fight inside. And they're going to say it's Nanticoke ball. Referees tonight, John Basic, Patrick Roman, and Joe Flaherty from the Wyoming Valley Conference.
Been a well-officiated game tonight, no doubt. Officials week here in the PIAA.
Thank you to all the officials in every sport in the winter. So now a chance to cut this to an 8-point lead for Nanticoke. They can get one from 3. Every possession counts now, but Atkins can't get the roll. Nice rebound. Back out to Reed. Got it. That's huge. Kate Reed feeling it.
Wow, that ball barely touched her fingertips, and the quick release that time. And she had to get it up quickly because Holy Redeemer, I think it was Boylan that was charging out and had the leaping. Well, it wasn't Boylan. She's not on the floor, but it was a great catch and shoot in a hurry by Reed.
6-0 run now for the Trojanettes, and they're within 8. Again, just hanging around enough, and that was without Reed and without Majeros.
Yeah, when you make shots, you can stay in the game despite what else is going on. And Holy Redeemer, still a lot of work to do. Still plenty of time to go in this third quarter.
So they'll let Nanticoke bring the ball over into their offense. Closest they were in the first half was 5. It's been most of about a 12-point lead for Holy Redeemer most of this game. Way off the mark from Atkins. Probably an ill-advised shot. I thought they should have got it into Majeros. Here comes Redeemer. Good D from behind by Kate Reed to knock that out of bounds.
Yeah, good hustle. Never gave up on the play. The Royals had numbers, but Reed with that great quickness able to prevent the layup.
Holy Redeemer just going to try to find that mismatch. And there it is right there. They found it quickly. Bounce it right inside to the 5'8" senior Albrecht, and she'll go to the line.
Yeah, it looked like a nice set play that time, and Albrecht a great job sealing off the smaller defender. And from there, it was just easy to get it up on the rim. See if she converts the three-point play, and she does. She's come alive here in the second half.
Into the corner. They were hitting that in the first half. They are not here in the second. Reed to Majeros, knocked out of bounds. Good defense by Sagelka. Coming back.
I think I would have liked to see Reed go all the way to the rim that time. She's such a good free throw shooter. She's only taken 19 free throws this year. If I'm Ed Grant, I want her getting to the line a lot more. She's a good enough player to do it.
And there you said, right into the paint, but she gets blocked.
Yep.
Blocked by Parsons.
Even that time, she faded away a little bit, though.
Yep. Does come back to cause the turnover, but you're right. Go back up to an 11-point lead.
Going to come with a little more size here. Jordan Johnson back in the game, replacing Donahue for Nanticoke.
Albrecht, 7 points in this half so far for Holy Redeemer. Chimek in the middle, and she'll go to the line to shoot 2.
Yeah, Barron got a little bit of the ball that time, but also got a piece of the wrist. That'll send the Redeemer southpaw to the line for 2.
Oh, yeah. Definitely a foul there against Barron, her second.
Chimok's not just a basketball player. A lot of these athletes on both of these teams are multi-sport athletes, which is great to see. Mackenzie Chimok, part of a state qualifying 4x100 relay team in the spring for the track team.
Love to see a lot of these student athletes playing multiple sports.
No question.
Into Majeros. She brought the ball down again. Like to see her keep that up, especially at that height. And Sagelka quickly back the other way.
And defense into offense. Nobody does it better in the Wyoming Valley Conference than Holy Redeemer, and you saw it again there.
They can score in bunches. Atkins corner, that's big. Her first points of the second half.
Every time you think this game's getting out of hand, Nanticoke hits a 3.
No foul called. That should run. Nope, real late foul.
Well, they have to call that.
Yeah, that was.
Sigelka slid underneath her. Obviously didn't do it intentionally.
No, her first.
They had a foul to give, so that's not a terrible foul.
Here you see it. I talked about all these girls wearing the knee pads, and that's why. They like to dive on the floor, especially the volleyball players. Reed, way down there. Ooh, a little off the mark, but that will do it. Nanticoke just hanging around enough. They have it within 10. But Holy Redeemer wants to pick up win number 12 on the season. Can they? We'll find out in the fourth.
You're watching North American Warhorse High School Hoops, presented by Bathfitter on MyTV WQMY.
A nice student. The Red Sea in force tonight here at Holy Redeemer High School. They even made us a nice sign over in the corner. It says, "Hey, Fox 56." Put on the Red Sea. What we just did, Red Sea, welcome to some girls basketball here on MyTV WQMY.
Year after year, maybe the best student section in the whole Wyoming Valley Conference.
They definitely come out and show support for their team. Chimmick back the other way quickly.
How about that outlet pass? Little Wes Unseld two-hand over the top.
And it looks like Majero's come down limping now. Didn't see what happened, yeah. Looks like her leg or ankle. Yep, here we go. They tell us we got it in the truck. Let's see. That's not her. But
looks like they're looking at her ankle, Bob.
Atkins looking inside. Jordan back inside. So the height now advantage to Holy Redeemer. Into Jordan, and she's right there. Good basket by Jordan Johnson. Her first two.
That possession didn't look great to start. They had players bumping into one another, but ended up with a nice pass, and Johnson, little 6-footer in the lane, nice soft touch.
So the Trojanettes going to come out of this game with some key injuries, as Kate Reed banged her finger in the first quarter. She's still playing and playing better, but they'll have to take a look at that. And now Caitlin Majeros nursing that ankle injury. Nice drive in the middle for Barron.
Yeah, I thought Holy Redeemer took a little bit of a quick shot there on the other end. I wasn't crazy about that shot selection, and it led to an easy Barron bucket at the other end.
And just like that, they're within 8. Tavich, leading scorer in the first half, hasn't scored here. Nice pass now. She gets it over to Albrecht, who's really come out in this second half.
Yeah, she's really picked up the slack with Nanticoke kind of keying on Tavich after she had that huge first half. And that's what Holy Redeemer does. You take away somebody, and they got 4 other players on the floor that could beat you.
Rook brings it up back the other way, the senior. Arissa Gelka, way off the mark. But number 14 is there, gets the board, and going to get rewarded with 2 free throws.
Yeah, Holy Redeemer shot the ball so well in this game that they haven't gotten as many offensive rebounds as normal, and Nanticoke's done a nice job being competitive on the glass. That time, this one going to result in some second chance opportunity here for Holy Redeemer.
Fouls on the floor by Johnson, her third. Nanticoke's first of the half. Back inside to Albrecht. She'll go to the line again.
Yeah, that's similar, very similar set play they ran on the baseline out of bounds earlier in this half, and both times it's resulted in Albrecht matched up against a smaller player in a great spot down low.
Kate Reed with her third. Albrecht pretty much perfect tonight from the free throw line. 4 for 4 unofficially.
I think that's one of the ways you can tell a team that's, first of all, well coached, and second of all, experienced. And Holy Redeemer has so many juniors and seniors in their rotation. Those baseline out of bounds plays, when you see a team execute those well, it's a good sign that they're very well schooled in practice on a daily basis.
Albrecht now with 13. She's the second leading scorer. As you said, Kriptavich had 15 in that first half. Chubak, smallest player on the court, gets the rebound. Redeemer going to run. Under 6 to play. Johnson down, gets that.
Timeout.
And a timeout by Ed Grant with 5:14 remaining in the game. And again, back to the 12-point lead. So here's what Nanticoke has coming up the rest of the season, as we're getting down to that point of the year where every game matters. Again, they will get Lake Lehman at home, and they get Holy Redeemer to end the season at home on February 5th.
Yeah, and Nanticoke will get another opportunity here if they can't come back on their home floor, where they're usually very tough. Both Lake Lehman and Holy Redeemer at home in the second half of the year. So Nanticoke, even if they drop this game, will still have some opportunities. All those other teams they've already beaten once this year. And I think those three teams that we just mentioned, Lehman, Holy Redeemer, and Nanticoke, have kind of all established themselves pretty clearly as the top three teams in Division II of the Wyoming Valley Conference.
Well, once again, the Wyoming Valley Conference will have their tournament, right, between the two divisions. That's 4 teams. As we take a look at Caitlin Majeros now, ice on that ankle. She'll sit out the rest of the way, and 2 key injuries coming out of this game. We'll see how that affects Nanticoke the rest of the season. Yeah, not just for tonight, absolutely. You need Caitlin Majeros. She's such an important player for this team with her size down low and the rebounding ability she brings. And again, Nanticoke doesn't have a lot of size and rebounding ability. Well, not a lot of size anyway outside of Caitlin. Their guards do rebound pretty well, as we've seen tonight. Reed has 3 fouls. She has 9 points, all threes, and inside, nice move by Barron, the 5'7" junior, aggressive. Now going to go to the line.
Well, Redeemer's done a good job clogging up the lane for the most part in this game. And that's led to some open three-point opportunities from Nanticoke, and that's what's kept them in the game. But it has limited the opportunities of Barron to kind of get in the paint and create, which is such a huge part of this Nanticoke offense. Able to get in there, and you really saw her abilities there in that possession.
So another good feet store free throw for Barron. 2 big ones, and we're back within 10, hanging around. They've gotten it to 8 at one point, but that's the closest Nanticoke has come most of this half. Nice move by Kovatovich.
Yeah, one-on-one against Atkins on the block. That's not a matchup Ed Grant's going to want to see much more of.
That was her first bucket of the second half. She is 17. And Ed Grant, I asked him before the game, if we get in the 60s, you win or lose. He said, we'll probably lose if we're in the 60s. We give up 60 tonight, it's going to be tough for us to win. Back to Reed, 2 in a row. Nope. Still battling the Trojanettes. Here comes the Lady Royals. 2-on-1.
Wow.
Reed back. Competitive. That's what I say about her.
Getting up for that.
Yep, 4 minutes left exactly in this game. We'll take our last media timeout. 61-49 is the score here in Wilkes-Barre. Four minutes left in this game. Holy Redeemer out in front. Here's what we have coming up on MyTV for high school hoops this year, Paul. On Friday, the 24th, boy, the big rematch, Holy Cross and Riverside boys basketball. Then we have another Coaches versus Cancer game, Paul Pack and Valley View. And we get back to the Wyoming Valley Conference with Pittston area and Dallas.
Yeah, I guess that Pittston area Dallas game got a little chippy last night. That was an intense one. From what I understand, listened to some of that on the radio last night, but I think that Riverside Holy Cross game, that should be a good one. That is much like this Holy Redeemer Lake Lehman game on the girls' side that we're going to see. Holy Cross just dominated Riverside the first time those two teams matched up in a much anticipated game, and I think Riverside's going to have something to say. I don't think it's going to be a 30-point blowout next time those two teams play.
No, absolutely not. I think Riverside might have been a little overwhelmed in that game. It's tough to play at Holy Cross. It's such a small gym.
Yeah.
It was hot in there. In December, too. That was a December game. That's their first league game. Because of the expansion in Lackawanna League, they played some league games in December, which they hardly ever do.
I'll tell you what, if I'm not doing a game that night, I will be tuned in to WQMY for that.
Boylan back the other way. Nice save by Kate Reed. I'll give you one thing, Nanticoke's not going to give up. They are hustling all over the place. Boylan, baseline. Shoots it back out. Boy, anybody can shoot at any time, but Megan Albrecht in the second half has just exploded for 15 points in the half, Paul. She's 17 overall.
After a quiet first half.
Very quiet.
We barely mentioned her name in the first half. She took what came to her. She didn't force shots. She wasn't selling and saying, oh, I haven't really scored in this first half. I'm going to make sure I get mine. No, she just kind of let Brooke Kroptavich steal the show in the first half, and in the second half, Albrecht really stepped up.
Barron makes the first. Albrecht had 18 as a high this year against West Scranton. She averages just about 8.5 points per game. But again, as we've been saying throughout this broadcast, it could be anybody at Holy Redeemer. They play 8 players, and all 8 could have a big night.
Yeah, and Megan's defensive abilities are every bit as important to John Jaworski's team as her offense as well.
So with 2:56 remaining, Ed Grant takes another timeout. I think that might be his final one. And here's what the Redeemer has coming up. Again, that big rematch here, January 23rd, against the hottest team maybe in the division, Lake Lehman.
No doubt. If you want to see a hungry basketball team, come out here to Holy Redeemer on January 23rd. They're going to be, they want another piece of those Lake Lehman Black Knights. And I'll tell you what, Charlie Levan, he's one of the most underrated coaches in District 2. He's kind of a quiet guy. When you talk about the best coaches around here, his name doesn't come up much, but year after year, that team defends well, they rebound well, they play unselfish basketball, very similar to how Holy Redeemer's played through the years. And that's a very underrated program that you probably don't hear much about. And you mentioned the Wyoming Valley Conference tournament that's coming up later this season. Lake Lehman's won that, I think, 3 out of the last 4 years.
You echo the sentiments of John Jaworski nicely, because that's exactly what he told me in the interview this week about Charlie Levan and his program up there, all totally underrated.
Yeah.
So 2:56 after the timeout, full court pressure coming up now for Nanticoke. And you mentioned, Paul, this is where really Holy Redeemer can excel.
Yeah, when they make you extend your defense, everybody can handle the ball. They're solid with the basketball in these sort of situations, and they're not a team that you want to get down double digits against. And at this point, they're going to kind of salting this one away, and it looks like the Royals are going to take sole control of second place in this division.
Yeah, largest lead of the night is 17, and the scoreboard and the scorebook won't portray how close this was of a game pretty much throughout. Nanticoke got it within 8, but that's about as close as they could get.
Yeah, made enough shots to keep themselves in it, but just a few too many turnovers in the first half. And when you get down 10-plus points against an experienced group like Holy Redeemer, it's a really steep hill to climb, especially on the road.
Coach Jaworski now is going to play a little four-corner action. And we have a foul by Jordan Johnson, her 4th. Couple fouls to give for Nanticoke. But at this point, I would think you don't really need Holy Redeemer on the line. It's a 17-point deficit. You're not going to make that up inside the Parsons.
Jillian's had a quietly very good game as well on both ends, playing some good defense. She was the primary defender a lot when she was in there against Majeros.
Good drive down the lane by Atkins. Bella Boylan. Sigelka right there, pull this one out, and timeout Coach Jaworski. Maybe he just wants to run out the clock. I know he doesn't want to blow this lead up too much.
He might want to get some other kids in the game for the television game. I would think that's a possibility here. Or maybe he has a play they've been working on at practice, and 19-point lead late in the game. Let's run that play and see how we execute it in a game situation.
Well, Nanticoke's last win over Holy Redeemer in 2022 on February 2nd, 2-2-2-2.
will not happen tonight.
Riley Baird had a monster game in that one for Nanticoke. A girl I got an opportunity to coach a little bit in softball. Tremendous kid, and knocked down a lot of threes in that game back in 2022 as Nanticoke pulled the upset before losing to Dunmore in the next game.
So Holy Redeemer 3A, Nanticoke in 4A. And Nanticoke has a tough job in that 4A, as we saw with Valley View and Scranton Prep up top in that division. Prep, of course, last year went to the state title game before losing. Pretty much everybody back from that team. So the final minute 20 coming up in this game. I want to thank both coaches for getting us the information we needed, and congratulations to our figure law scholar athletes. Both will be.
Looks like John Jaworski's. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Coach Jaworski's brought in Carney Quinn and Mary Lombardi into the game for this final minute. Two players who have played some meaningful minutes for them. Haven't seen much of them tonight, though.
So Barron picks up the foul, her fourth. Team's fifth, so that will send Chimok to the line. They didn't need her to score. We talked about her in pregame. The leading scorer, but not by much here on this team. And that's a pretty good problem to have if you're Coach Jaworski.
No doubt. Yeah.
You're not worried about someone's not having a night, doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's what every coach wants. Making their free throws. Again, we knew Nanticoke had to keep this tempo low and keep the score low, and you look up at the scoreboard, Redeemer's got 70 plus.
Reed, all 3-pointers tonight. She has 12, right around her average. Atkins had herself a pretty good night as well, the junior. And you look at it, Paul, just one senior in the starting lineup for Nanticoke.
Yeah, this is the third game that I've gotten the opportunity to broadcast for them this season. This is actually the best I've seen them play. So credit to Ed Grant and his coaching staff. He clearly has his team improving as the season has gone along. And, I mean, Holy Redeemer shot well from the outside tonight. If they have an average shooting game or worse, this is a very competitive game down the stretch.
Well, you saw it against Lake Lehman. When they don't shoot well, they might lose by 30.
Right.
But they did it on both. They did it outside shooting. They did it off turnovers, did Holy Redeemer, and they did it with their speed.
I thought this was a very well-played game overall by both teams.
Yeah, considering Kate Reed hurt her finger in the first quarter, had foul trouble, only had 3 points in the first half. They couldn't get Majeros going inside. Now she's out with, looks like, an ankle injury. But some of the role players have picked it up for Nanticoke. So the final 22 of this game, Paul.
Going to have not an easy decision for the players of the game tonight, Bob.
Well, I think we decided on Megan and Brooke. Two leading scorers. Nice job by Barron from the outside. She had herself a pretty good night, double figures. And that will do it. Clock hits 0. Holy Redeemer picks up win number 12 on the year. Nanticoke will drop to 7-8 overall and 5-2 in the division. And Holy Redeemer keeping pace with Lake Lehman in Division II of the Wyoming Valley Conference. When Paul and I return, we have our players of the game. We'll wrap things up here in Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Nice win. Big win here for Holy Redeemer tonight. They improved to 12-3 on the year, and Brooke Kamatovich comes in. Hope I didn't mess your name up again, but it's a little bit? Okay, Kamatovich. Okay, so a little late than ever. Big game for you. You exploded in the first half. You led the team. What was going right for you guys in that first half?
Well, we knew we had to come out strong and have no lead-ups, and that's kind of what we did. We came out, we got steals, we hustled, and it showed.
Well, you had that 30-point loss against Lake Lehman. What has changed? How did that wake you up?
It showed us that we need to take every game not for granted and push even harder than we thought we had to, and yeah.
Okay, let's go to Megan now. She had a big second half. Megan Albrecht, big half, 17 points, I think, overall 15. What were you seeing in that second half? Why did you get all those points in the second half?
It's all about looks. We're a very team-based basketball, so every time we're looking for different people. It just happened to be Brooke in the first half. At any point, it could be any one of us, so a lot of team basketball.
Talk to me about the way you guys are playing and how good is this team still have a lot to give?
The potential is crazy, yeah. I think we've had a couple down games, and it's hard when you get beat up a little bit to come back punching, so our potential last year and this year is crazy. We just got to keep moving.
Well, if you know this, that there's no there's no player on the team that averages double figures. What does that mean? How does that help you?
If you take one person out, the team's going to still win. You take Brooke out, we're all going to pick her up. You take Belle out, the team's going to pick it up. You take me out, same thing.
What's the goal this year?
Conference, leagues, districts, and make a run in states.
Yeah, they want to make a run into states and win a second in a row district title. Congratulations, girls. We're going to bring Paul in right now. Good luck the rest of the way. Appreciate it. I don't need that right now. Okay, Paul, let's wrap things up. Big win. Holy Redeemer, obviously the favorite maybe in District 2 and 3A. Dunmore's going to give them a run. But, this team's playing some high-level basketball.
No doubt about it. Excellent performance on both ends of the floor by Holy Redeemer tonight. Shot the ball. I would have to think that's one of the best offensive performances that John Jaworski's team has had all year. And they really needed it because Nanticoke pushed them for 3 quarters. And in the end, just a few too many turnovers for the Trojanettes in this game. They're going to be a tough out as well. If they play like they did tonight, I don't see a lot of teams in the division the rest of the way beating them, and it'll be a tough one against Lake Lehman, of course. But, both teams with a lot to build on from this performance.
Yeah, Nanticoke, the Trojanettes, some injuries coming out of this. We'll have to see how that affects them the rest of the year.
Yeah, and hopefully, Kate Reed did a great job coming back tonight from that finger injury and shot the ball extremely well when she got clean looks in this game. Caitlin Majeros remains to be seen. Hopefully just an ankle sprain she can rebound quickly from. But again, an important win for Holy Redeemer tonight because don't forget, in the Wyoming Valley Conference tournament at the end of the year, the top 2 teams from the division go. And now Holy Redeemer has sole possession in second place. So a really key win for John Jaworski's team.
Paul, thanks. Good game tonight and a big win for Holy Redeemer. We'll be back on the air January 24th. We're back in the Lackawanna League for a big game in Division 2 up there as Holy Cross and Riverside, a big rematch in Taylor, will be on the air at 7:30. So for the entire Fox 56 Sports crew, for Paul Garrity, this is saying bye-bye, so long from Wilkes-Barre.
You're watching North American Warhorse High School Hoops, presented by Bathfitter on MyTV WQMY.